I always need to start off with drinking some water. This video is sponsored by Voss. This isn't even Voss. This is not, see, this is tap water, but you know, when you put it in a bottle, it makes it look more fancy. Do you know what I mean? Right, cool. Apologies for that. Cool. I always need to start things twice. You guys already know about this. I have cut my hair. I don't know if you can see. That's why I'm looking more like I feel like I look more like an almond today. But that's because I cut my hair, not because of anything, and not because I've been eating more food than I supposed to be. But yeah, cool. So today, I want to speak about this topic actually. When I first started this channel, I was like, no, I want to talk about this topic, but I need to be in a certain state in my life. I need to be in the right state of mind before I speak about it. And I feel like I've gone through a journey, and now is the time. Like, I feel like it's the time to speak about it. Right. So can we just talk about learning to drive, driving in London, driving as a whole, guys? The bane of my life. The bane.
Who won it? Who won it? Which nigga little goon getting stewed with the onion?
Right, right. Whoa, I really need to give myself a hernia. Right, cool. So, me and driving have been like onion and onion. What really doesn't go with onion? Onion and Oreos. Like, me and driving have been. We haven't been friends. We've been so distant that I can't even describe how much I hated learning how to drive. Right. So in London, in England, in Wales, God knows if I've even do it. Drink some water. Sorry, bear with me. Right, cool. So in England, whatever, you're supposed to do your theory test before you start driving. Some people do it after their lessons. Like, I don't think you need to do it before, but like, it's part of like, you know, driving. Cool. So did my theory, banged it first time, you don't know. Like, I feel like with exams, I'm terrible with exams, but I feel like there's like an app, that you can get on your phone, and I'm gonna put it down below because it really, really helped me. And I just banged out that app. Me and that app were like brethrens. Like, I literally banged out the app the day before my test, my theory test, banged the app, and I just passed with flying colours. And like, even the hazard perception, oh my God. You know those sheep, you know in the hazard perception test when the sheep just appear? Like, that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't be somewhere where sheep would just appear from the floorboards. It's just not realistic. What you need to do is, you need to put a child who's going to run in the middle of the road, or a ball, or a dog, something realistic, or a granny, an old age pensioner who's walking with her stick in central London. That's what we need. Or how about people who walk with double buggies? Let's put the double buggy people into the hazard perception, because that's more realistic. Do you know what I mean? Not a flipping sheep appearing out of the floor. But anyway, cool. When I was doing my hazard perception, there was one like slide that I got 0 on, and I was like, say nothing. Like, the whole screen went white and was like, you got 0 for this slide, whatever. And I was thinking, like, do you understand? Like, my God is good. Like, he will not let me fail, and I didn't fail, guys. And actually, funny story. So after I did my theory test, I remember I was like, no, I need to go and poo before I go and get my like test results. So I went to the toilet, I pooed, and then like I opened my test results, and boom, I passed. And I was just thinking, I feel like if I didn't poo, then like I wouldn't have passed. Too much information, Maria, but we move. Anyway, cool. So I passed, and I was like, you know, probably happy. I was thinking, oh, if I can pass my theory, like, driving will be calm. Okay then. So I started my driving lessons way back. Guys, I feel like it's even bordering on 3 years, maybe even longer than that. And my first driving lesson, I did it in the evening. Like, who does their first driving lesson in the evening? As in, let me explain what I mean when I say evening, like dark out, like pitch black, evening times. Like, and I was driving in an area that I'm not even from. Like, why was I doing my driving lesson? I think because it was cheaper, because driving lessons are so expensive. I don't care what anyone says. You know, people who are like, yeah, but with my driving instructor, yeah, no. My mum used to tell me that her driving lessons used to be £4, £4 a lesson. And and nowadays, like, depending on the area you live, you could spend you could spend up to like £25. Can you imagine £25 an hour? And in a driving lesson, yeah, you don't do anything. Like, as in the first like hour, you don't get much done because a lot of the time in London you're sitting in traffic. So you have to do 2 hours, which is £50. Crikey. So you're working to pay lessons, to then imagine you pay £60, then you pay £70 to hire the car for your test, and then you fail. You see, heartburn is real. Like, I will get on to how many times I failed my driving test. But yeah, anyway, so first driving lesson was in the evening, and I remember getting in the car. And by the way, this driving instructor was a waste man. All my driving instructors were waste men. Like, I eventually did all my driving and everything on my own, like with my mum and my dad. Like, I was like, I'm not doing driving lessons with an instructor ever again. Like, driving instructors are arsees. They are not all of them. Some of them are lovely. You know, people go, my driving instructor was lovely. Well, mine wasn't. All of them let me down. So nope. I eventually was just like, do you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I know the basics. I know how to drive. And this is another thing that you guys always need to remember. Like, learning how to drive, these instructors will make you feel like you don't know what you're doing. And you could possibly like go onto another instructor and he's like, yeah, you're ready. Go do your test. Like, you will feel ready. Do not listen to these idiots who are like, you're not ready yet. You need another 10 lessons. Bro, it's to get your money. Like, it's actually to get your money. It's actually to get your P's. Because I honestly believe that like, you only need a couple of lessons to kind of get a grips of like what to do at roundabouts and like road positioning and all them things there. Like, cool. You see, I'm getting annoyed. Right, cool. So first driving lesson, did it in the dark. You lot driving down the road. Bear in mind, I practiced in manual because I know I'm going to get a lot of questions like, did you do manual or automatic? Did manual. But so cool. Driving down the road, my driving instructor says like more gas, and I thought. He was like, more gas, yeah? And imagine, I don't know, like, I've never got into a manual car before this lesson. So I pushed down on the freaking brake and we literally nearly went flying out the front screen. Like, and he goes, are you crazy? Do you not know what gas or the brake is? And I just thought like, bro, like, I'm paying you. Shut your mouth. Like, actually shut your mouth. This is my first lesson. It's your job. Let me just put some lip gloss on. Bear with me. It's your job before I even get onto the road to sit with me and say, okay, this is first gear, this is second gear, this is third gear, this is how you reverse, this is gas, and this is the gas, and this is the brake. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's your job to say that to me before we drive. And I feel like he put me in the car and then was shocked that I didn't know what I was doing. But bro, you're supposed to be teaching me from the basics. Like, don't get me wrong, some people get into a manual car and already know like what they're doing because, I don't know, they've driven their mum's car or whatever, or they just aware of like what to do. But I had no knowledge, nada credada. I had no knowledge of a manual car. I never had got into a manual car before. So cool. So after that happened, yeah, I was like, yeah, you're a dickhead. Like, you're actually a fool. And the thing is, I feel like little moments like that is when you question it makes you question yourself. Like, am I really good? Like, am I going to be able to pass? Am I good enough? Like, I was continuing doing lessons with him and I'll be making little mistakes and he would literally shout at me like, what is the matter with you? And I'm like, what is the matter with you? Like, as a teacher, you're supposed to be patient, and each pupil is different. Do you know what I mean? Each pupil is different. So you can't be comparing me to Stan that you had an hour ago. Like, he might be more advanced than me. I might be more advanced than him. My strengths might be like hill starts or like roundabouts, whatever. And his might be like rope. I don't even know. Like, you cannot compare the pupils that you're teaching. It's actually disrespectful. So I was doing my driving lessons with him. So then he was like, are you rude? Eventually he was like, I think you're ready for your test. And I was, in my heart, I was like, no, I'm not ready for my test. Because I kept on, do you know what was happening with him? Yeah. So guys, imagine I'm doing my lessons with him and paying him. He changed his car at least 2 to 3 times in the whole time that I was learning with him. So anybody that knows, or anybody that has done lessons in a manual car, when your driving instructor changes their car and you've learned how to drive in their car, it is the most daunting thing ever. Like, every time he changed his car, I would have to learn like the biting point again, and what the second car that he had, he was like, oh, you don't need much gas on this, and I'm like, bro, my test is coming up soon and you keep changing your car. Like, to be fair to him, it's not his fault because like someone broke into his car, la la. But like, for me, you should just say to me, like, just find someone else and like go and do your lessons with someone else so that you're comfortable in that car. Like, every time he changed his car, I would have to start from literally from square one. And I'm like, I did not feel confident. And the thing is, I'm a confident person, and I feel like when I do something, I put all my heart into it and I believe in myself. And driving, hey, no, driving has made me question, like, Rhea, are you like, do you even know what you're doing? Like, are you stupid? Why are you making these mistakes? And it wasn't necessarily like, I feel like it wasn't the driving. It was more like the person who was teaching me was doing it the wrong way. Like, I would overthink. Like, I'm really, like, I really believe that I'm a perfectionist. So when I make a mistake, especially a mistake that like I've aced the last lesson, I get upset with myself, like, for fuck's sake. And then I get emotional, then I cry. Guys, the amount of times that I cried in my driving lessons, the amount of times that I would be on a hill start and I couldn't get over, like, the biting point, couldn't find the biting point, couldn't get the gas right, I would literally pull over to one side and just cry. And my instructor would be like, why are you crying? I'm just like, shut up. Like, this is, I used to get so frustrated at myself and just the situation, like, why am I not passing? Why am I not passing? Why am I not passing? And I'm spending all this money, like, the amount of money that I used to spend traveling up to the freaking place where I used to take my lessons, booking the test, the amount of times I had to cancel my test. We'll get onto that. We will get onto it. Cool. So he's like, I think you're ready. This is my first instructor. I think you're ready. La la. So then, last minute, I was just like, I'm not ready and I don't like this instructor. Like, I don't feel confident to go and do this, especially because like the couple of lessons before my test, he would like take me to areas and I'm like, you haven't taken me to these areas before, but this is where I'm having my test. Like, I just felt like he was kind of like throwing me into the deep end, but that's not funny. Like, if we're doing my test in this area, why have you not taken me round the test centre? Like, why are we only going to the test centre like the first or second time before my test? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the week of my test, you're taking me near the test centre. Like, are you right? So cool. I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. So I like messaged him. I was like, sorry, like, I'm not in the right mindset to carry on driving, la la. I took a break from driving for a bit and then I found a new instructor. No, guys. No, I'm actually missing. So this story that I've just told you, no, that was the first time I got into a car. Yeah, cool. That was my first instructor. So second instructor, I saw a deal on Bill Plant, yeah? You lot, do not go and drive a Bill Plant. I don't care if I'm putting them on blast. I don't care. The guy so I did it in my work and I was like, cool, I can do this like either on my lunch break or after work, blah, 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 right? Cool. So booked Bill Plant and I was like, oh, this is sick because it's cheaper, like whatever. Guys, the guy made me go round the area without doing the pedals. So let me explain what I mean. You see how they have dual pedals? Dual pedals. So he has his own pedals and I have my pedals and he controls my pedals, like if I get into an accident or whatever. Cool. My guy was doing the pedals while I was doing the steering. Am I a waste man in life? So I paid money and I honestly, I think this was like in between doing like lessons with my instructor and then lessons with him, because I remember thinking, like, in my head I knew, like, this is not right. Like, how am I not even doing the pedals? Is this go-karting? Like, how am I doing the steering? Like, I could sit at home with a plate and do that. Like, what am I paying for? So then after I was like, nah, these people are taking my money. Like, you're actually taking the piss out of me. So I cancelled doing that with Bill Plant. That was the next thing. Then I took a little break from driving. I was like, I can't keep spending my money. I'm going to enjoy my weekends, because my weekends were driving lessons. Like, anybody who works 9 to 5, by the time you finish work, like, where's the day gone? So I was like, weekends were my driving lesson times. So cool. I booked another one. I booked like a new instructor with AA. This driving instructor was nice. Like, he was nice. I felt like he was patient. He always used to be like, driving is like doing makeup, you know? You carry on, you do it, and you get better. And when you first start doing makeup, like, it's hard, but eventually, like, you get the gist of it. And I was just like, you're a man, like, what do you even know about makeup? But you know, he's trying to, like, be relatable. And I was like, I can't relate to you. Anyway, cool. So, we used to drive around and stuff. And it was calm, still trying out manual, whatever, it was calm. There was one time I nearly got hit by a bus, but that's that's for another story. The amount of times that I used to put myself in situations driving, like, I used to be like so blasé about, like, when it got to the second instructor, I was so blasé that I just would just be like, oh, I'm in second, oh, I'm in the first, oh, I'm in first gear, oh shit, oh, I'm supposed to be in third. Like, I didn't even care, because I just thought, like, I'm not letting myself get so, like, caught up in this. I feel like the lighting's really bad. But anyway, I was like, I'm not letting myself get so caught up in this. Like, this is ridiculous, how much money I'm spending. So I used to just be very blasé, try to be calm, cool, boom. Booked my test. Guys, let me tell you the efferees, like, that actually went on. So I booked my test for the weekend when I get back from my birthday, okay? So we went to Paris, and I was like, you know, I'm going to use Paris to rest and to just, it is what it is. If I don't pass, I don't pass, whatever. So guys, while I'm in Paris, my driving instructor messages me, and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm like going back to my country, so I'm not going to be able to be there for your test, so you're going to have to find someone else. What have I done to deserve this? Like, I was in Paris crying my eyes out, like this is never gonna, I'm never gonna pass, like, this is ridiculous, like, poor Lloyd. Like, I was just being so miserable that day, because it just I felt like it ruined my birthday, because for me, like, I was already stressing about passing anyway, to now then have to, like, you're just cancelling on me like that, like 2 days before my test, and then you're asking me to find someone else. Like, obviously I don't have anybody else. Otherwise, why would I be doing it with you? Like, and again, I've got used to driving your car. I've got used to driving, like, doing the biting points, all this everything. I've got used to driving your car for, like, what, 6 months or whatever it was. And now you're going to cancel on me, and now you're just telling me to just find someone else. So I was livid. Like, part of me was glad that he did that beforehand, because I was able to cancel my test and whatever, yeah. But the thing that takes the piss is that, like, so now what am I gonna do? Like, you're gone back to your country. You haven't told me when you're coming back. You haven't told me, like, what I'm supposed to do afterwards. Are we gonna continue lessons? Like, I literally was just, like, in a world, like, in a spin. Just, like, I hate this whole driving thing. Like, the lessons alone have been an absolute, like, mind-boggling. Like, I hated having to travel up to, like, all these different places to do my lessons, and now you're cancelling on me, like, a few days before my test. Like, are you kidding me? So anyway, I cancelled my test, and then when I got back to London, I was just like, oh, it is what it is. I didn't go and do driving lessons with that guy again. I found another driving instructor. So this was my third driving instructor, and I went back to, like the same kind of area that I used to do my driving lessons with the second guy, like, but, like, more, like, near my cousin's house and stuff, kind of like roads that I knew and stuff. And, like, there used to be, like, loads of hill starts in this area, and you lot know, like, with manual, anyone who's driven manual, the hill start, like, it's not like a normal hill. It's like the hill is like that. So when you're driving up, you have to, like, already position your car in the right place. You have to make sure that you've got the biting point perfect. You've got to make sure that you're pulling up the handbrake. And do you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff to remember, especially when you're doing your test. When you're doing your test, they'll be like, can you pull over to the left-hand side when it's safe to do so? So you have to pull over to the left-hand side. And if you're on a hill start, you've got to make sure that your car's positioned in the right place. You've got to make sure that you've got the biting point. Because if the car starts shaking, or you start to stall, guys, that's already a minor. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes if it's like you've got traffic behind you, that's a major, which means you can fail your test. So cool, I booked my test. My third instructor was jarring. Like, he used to just talk and talk and talk. Like, why are you talking so much? Like, I'm driving in my lesson, and you're talking bears about, like, what you used to do in the past, how you used to own a chicken and chip shop. Like, did I ask you to speak? But with that being said, I feel like now when I drive, it's, like, helped me. I can talk and I can listen to music because I'm able to multitask. But I didn't ask you to talk, and I don't want to talk. Like, you're like 90. there's nothing to talk about with you. Just teach me how to drive and let's just keep it stepping. Anyway, cool. So I booked my test. This was like going to be my first test. And I remember looking up like videos like how to pass your test first time. Yeah. Guys, I was honestly thinking like I was actually going to pass first time. And I remember, cool, got through the test. It was like I was drunk or like high or something. I was out of it. Like my test was at 8 a.m. So anybody that's taken that test before, you meet your driving instructor an hour before, you drive around, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's probably one of the worst things that you can ever do, you know, because I feel like the hour before my test, I literally made so many mistakes, like stupid mistakes. Like we'll be on a hill start and I'll be stalling. And it's an hour, like it's 20 minutes before my test and I'll be stalling. I'm stalling the car. The car is stalling. I stalled about 4 times. And then obviously it's like the energy and like you're nervous and oh my God, like it's my first test. I've got to make sure that I do all right and am I going to pass? And everything you're doing, you're thinking, oh my God, that's a fail, that's a fail, that's a fail. So I was overly panicking. By the time we got to the test, I was so hungry because I feel like anybody, I'm sure people can relate. Like before your test, I couldn't eat, can't eat. And in the mornings, I'm very like, when I drink coffee and stuff, it has to be the right time. And sometimes I get nauseous. And if I haven't had a popo, like there's a lot that goes into it. Do you know what I mean? So, I was so nervous. I was so hungry by the time I got into the car. It was stupid, to be honest. And where my driving test was at the test center, there was no toilet. So I needed to like go to the toilet and I was hungry. So it was silly, to be honest. But I feel like if my test was later, then maybe I could have like had the urge to eat something. But in the morning, I just was so nervous. I was like, I can't even eat. Like I had a banana and like a piece of toast. But by the time you get to the test center, do the hour lesson, you're starving. Anyway, cool. So I got into the car. The guy's like, can you pull over? Like literally, guys, I can't even remember like what he was asking me to do. He asked me to parallel park. Imagine we went to Waitrose, yeah, because they take you to like a car park. So if there's like a Waitrose or a Sainsbury's or whatever, and he asked me to not parallel park. He asked me to do a bay park, yeah. Is it a bay park? Parallel park, a bay park. I can't remember. But he asked me to park in a bay, like in the car park, yeah. And how can I? I'm such an idiot. So I was on the left. So my car was positioned on the left, yeah? So you would think I'd drive in right, yeah? So the car's here, so I would drive into like a space to the right. Guys, I drove into the space on the left. And then to the point where I drove through like the space to the next space. And then he was like, oh no, you can't do that. Like you can't drive like through to another space. And I was like, oh, okay. Pulled the handbrake up and I opened. And then he goes, are you done with your maneuver? I goes, yep. I was so over it. I was like, I didn't even, like, I felt like I was just like, I just was so over driving by then. I was just like, I just don't even care. So cool. So then we're driving back to test center or whatever. And he's like, oh, unfortunately you failed. And I was just like, I just don't even care. Like, get me out of this car. So my driver instructor was like, oh, what did she do wrong? And he had like a list of faults. I had like 10 faults, guys, and like one major. Like I was doing madness. Like I feel like the moment I took off, I failed. Like... because I just was so over it. I was just like so over it, so nervous, whatever. Cool. Second time, I got the same guy, the same examiner, and I was like, this must be fate, you know, like I'm probably gonna pass today. No, the guy didn't even remember me. Like I felt like he remembered me and like he would try and help me to pass. My guy didn't remember me. But there was no loyalty there. We got to a hill start and I stalled and stalled and stalled and stalled. This is all my test. Stalled and stalled and stalled. I must have stalled 25 times. And I got to the point where when I got over, we pulled to one side and I just started crying and crying and crying. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. He was like, calm down. Like the instructor, the examiner's like, calm down. It's going to be all right. Da, 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 da. So he was like, do you want to carry on? I was like, nope. I was just like in a really bad place mentally. Like I know it sounds really extreme and you guys are probably thinking it's just driving, but people pick up different things quicker. And I felt like this was just one of my things that I just couldn't pick up. And it was like I knew I could drive. Do you know what I mean? And it's like all these little things, like my instructor cancelling on me, like just feeling really insecure on the roads and everything. Everything was just getting to me and I felt like I was rushing myself to pass. Like I need to pass. And it's like, there's a reason that like I wasn't passing because I was honestly putting so much pressure on myself, and not looking at it as like it's really not that deep. Like if you pass, you pass. You can do it again. Like I always used to say, like I can do it again. I can do it again. But you know, like the feeling of passing and then just being like, see ya, was it's just like amazing. So anyway, he was like, yeah, do you want to continue? I was like, no. So then he went and got my instructor. My instructor came up the road and was like, what's the matter? And I was just like, I just can't fucking do this anymore. So I got out of the car. No, he drove us back. He drove me back to the station and was like, you need to just like relax. Like you can drive, you know, like you're really good. And I was just like, shut up. Like I felt like I was just like, obviously not. Like if I'm not able to freaking get over a hill start, then I don't know what I'm doing. So after that, again, guys, I took another break. I was like, F driving. Like I'm not doing this anymore. That day that I did my test, I paid £60 for the test and £70 for his car. And my test lasted, 10 minutes? So I was just like, I've wasted so much money on this stupid situation. Like I'm not doing this anymore. So when I literally took a break and everything and was like, okay, cool, I'm ready, that is when I was like, boom. It's like when I did my test the time after that, I was calm. The guy was like, can you pull over to one side? I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And I was taking my time. Like I felt like the last time I was rushing. And I felt like after taking a break and everything and just realizing that it's really not that deep. Like you will pass when you need to pass. Like, you know what it is? You know when you see people driving and stuff, yeah, and you're like, oh my God, like they've got a car or whatever, and you think, oh my God, I want a car or whatever. When you actually get the car and you drive around, you're like, I now, looking back, hate driving. Like, not looking back, like now that I can drive and I've got a car or whatever. I mean, I could drive before, but I mean like, now that when I drive around, I'm just like, it's really not, like, driving is really overrated. Like, people on the roads, there's a lot of stupid idiots on the road. People that don't indicate. People that don't know the freaking rules of the roundabout. People that, like, their speed. There was a guy that I was driving behind yesterday, yeah? And every traffic light, my guy, it turned green. My guy was like this. What are you waiting for? Like, there's nothing in front of you. The amount of people that had to beep him. And then, like, imagine I got round the roundabout, then saw him again, and people are beeping him. It's like, can you wake up? And these are the kind of people that will make you crash and make you have an accident. Because even when I'm on a dual carriageway, yeah, and some of the way that people drive, oh my gosh. Like, you'll see these, especially, I feel like young boys do it a lot, where, like, they'll be driving and they'll just be swerving through lanes. Brother, you're not indicating at all what you're about to do. Do you know what I mean? And these are the people that will make you crash. And it really drives me insane. And I feel like these are the people that pass first time. This is why, guys, this is why I tell you, yeah, do not compare yourself to other people, because there's people who pass first time and still can't drive. There's people who pass fifth time and are even better drivers than the people who pass first time. It really doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter how many times it takes you to pass. When you pass, you pass. But don't be comparing yourself to people who pass first time. So a lot of the people who pass first time haven't got a clue about the roads. Like, they just passed the test. Because I feel like passing the test and actually knowing how to drive is two completely different things. Because you could literally do great on your test, and when it comes to like roundabouts or in general or being on different roads, you ain't got a clue you ain't got a clue what you're doing. And also, it's very easy to pass when you've been doing your driving lessons in the same area for like a year. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know those roads. But when it comes to like you're in a different area or whatever, let's see if you can really like know how to drive. So the whole driving situation, I honestly, please do not listen to all these instructors that say, you know, I don't think I'm ready. Shut up. You know when you're ready. You know when you feel confident to do it. And at the end of the day, you just have to keep going. Do you know what I mean? And just like, try out different, like, because I feel like the first kind of place that I started learning how to drive was like, I just didn't like that area. And it's okay if you're learning how to drive and you're in an area that you don't like you don't feel confident on the roads. Go and do your lessons somewhere else. Like, there's always different places to do your lessons, always different companies to do your lessons. And like, I think a good way to like get your license quick is if you're doing like a fast track course. Obviously, fast track is not for everybody, because I feel like it's brutal. Like, you could be doing 4 hours a day, but if you're willing to like take on the roads and take each thing like on the chin, then it will be fine. Do you know what I mean? But I think I couldn't do a fast track course at that time because I was so like, I'd make a mistake and I'd be like, get me out of this car, get me out of the car. But some people will make a mistake and just be able to, you know what I mean, churn it back and continue. But that, let me tell you, that's difficult. It is really, really difficult because, you know, you're doing like all your lessons in one big chunk and then having to do your test at the end. So it really does depend on like how you learn and what your strengths. It stopped and I don't know why it stopped. But yeah, as I was saying, like, look at your own strengths and just focus on like being better for yourself. Do not be comparing yourself to your friends who's got a car or this or that. It really doesn't matter. And having a car is so expensive. Like, driving in London is so expensive. Finding places to park is an absolute monstrosity. It's not as great as everybody makes out. Like, driving is so expensive and it's not fun. Like, I don't find it fun driving. Like, when I've got to go somewhere, I'm just like, oh, like, it's good to get to A to B, but I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And it's funny because it's like, when I was learning to drive, I was like, I can't wait to get a car. Now it's like, it's overrated. Driving is overrated. Like, it's really not. It's the whole idea of it, like driving down the A13 with your music blasting. No, but have they spoken about Craig, who's in the left-hand lane and he's just swerving in front of you? Have they spoken about freaking Oceana, who's driving in front of you and he doesn't even know where he's going? Have they spoken about that? Have they spoken about when you overtake Oceana, he then wants to speed up? Driving, yeah, guys, the whole thing is just a joke, to be honest with you. It's an absolute joke. And I just think, I wish I didn't put so much pressure on myself because it's really not that deep. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things that you just do, and it's a good trait to have in life. But who cares when you get that trait? Who cares? Who cares when you get it? Who cares? Not me. Anyway, cool. That's my video. Leave your comments below, guys, about like your driving experience. I really want to know like how it was for you. Like, how many times did you do a test before you passed? Have you passed? Have you not passed? Are you struggling with your theory? Are you struggling with your test? Just let me know, because I know a lot of people will be like, I passed that time. Great! Whoop-tee-doo! Whoop-tee-doo. And I know that if I was one of those person who passed first time, I'll be like, driving's really not that difficult, guys. Like, you've got to just put your mind to it. Do you know what I mean? But it was difficult, and it's literally been the bane of my life. Bane. But I love you guys so much. Please leave a comment below about what you want to see. I've got some fun. I keep saying that I've got fun for you, but I honestly do. I feel like I need to eat because I'm feeling really sick. But yeah, boom. Love you guys. I'm looking so chocolatey. What?
Okay, I'm reloaded.